everyone. See you again. Okay. First, I'll start from the news I see these days. A couple of days ago, I watched AI expert Li Feifei, who is Stanford professor of a whole lifetime appointment, talk about how she became interested in AI. In fact, she was originally fascinated by physics, and her idol was Einstein. While studying physics in Princeton, she realized that her idols, including Einstein and Newton, finally ended up studying humor. This made her wonder how life species evolve intelligence and whether non-life species could evolve intelligence in the same way. Wow. Seeing this made me very happy. Although I don't have Professor Lee's academic achievement, our curiosity about the evolution of the life species is the same. However, Li Feifei's approach is generally, and we are currently trying to understand the evolution of endoscope industry more clearly along the lines of evolution. In fact, when I was preparing for last year a new product launch, I had two questions. The one is, when animals first developed color vision, especially when did primates, which evolved into humans, developed color vision? The other question was, when did primates develop stereoscopic vision? These questions were not easy to answer, and I can't find the answer until last year. I come across a book called The Color of Life and found the answer within. Today, I'm going to use the point from that book to help us understand color vision, stereoscopic vision, and the evolution of the brain. Now, let's start with the evolution of color vision. At first, animals, including our ancestor apes, were colorblind, and everyone's world was without color. Around 14 million years ago, a branch of primates underwent a photoreceptor gene mutation, which gave them the ability to distinguish red light wave. The photoreceptor gene mutation mainly occurred in the narwhal monkey, that is, the primate with nasal septum. They have a narrow tip of the nose and the nostril facing downwards and are mainly distributed in Eurasia and Africa, including humans, apes, and some monkeys, which all belong to this classification. Research shows that the narwhal monkeys have similar trichromatic vision. The question is, how the trichromatic vision? It must have been an accident. Initially, trichromatic vision was an accident copy error in the gene of some narrow-nosed monkeys. But the accident made them stand out when searching for the ripe fruit. When trichromatic vision was absent, primate sensory systems complemented each other, such as not being able to see the color of the fruit, but could use the olfactory system to smell the fruit's fragrancy to determine its ripeness. Researchers studying the evolutionary process have discovered that the visual and olfactory system have actually been engaged in a fierce tug of war during evolutionary process. As the advantage of trichromatic vision in survival became more and more obvious, the olfactory system gradually evolved. The massive construction of olfactory organs directly lead to the reduction of the face size and the flattening of the face in the real monkeys, rather than the face of the car. Finally, the two eyes distributed on both sides of the head began to converge to the same place. Stereoscopic vision was born. Trichromatic vision can detect fruits in time, while the 3D vision can help them to move around freely. The evolution from a trichromatic vision to 3D vision is a chain reaction. Trichromatic vision plays an important driver role in several basic links of the evolution of primates to humans. 3D vision, on the other hand, is a byproduct of trichromatic vision. After the birth of 3D vision, primates received more information than flight imaging. And the large amount of data also put new demand on the brain processing ability. Thanks also to the relinquishment of the olfactory system, the cerebral cortex has more room for expansion. The new input of information promotes the development of intelligence, make it easier for primates to survive. This is the answer to these questions mentioned at the beginning. At the point, I was wondering whether the people who are currently working on ChatGPT are also following a similar process to try to use a similar path to evolve machines into more intelligent machines. Well, the ancestor finally involved trichromatic vision, but do you know that there was actually a big debate in history about the nature of color itself? Let's first take a look at the two teams involved in the debate about color. The blue team is the famous physical Newton, while the red team has three members, Hegel, Gauss, and Descartes. Let's see what Newton's position is. That white color is a mixture of different rays, and these rays has different colors that do not change due to the reflection, nor due to the presence of observer. This is objective theory of color. The captain of the red team is not the rational Descartes, but the literary figure Gauss. Gauss once said to himself, "As a poet, I have nothing to be proud of. What I'm truly proud of is that I have become the most knowledgeable in color science in our year." When a poet gets angry, scientists go crazy. The Gauss school of thought believed that the color are nothing more than local movement of external worlds that cause sensation in our visual nerves. This is subject theories of colors. Who was right? Most people believe that color is not inherent properties of things, but as a result of interaction between the visual system of human eye and the neural regulation function of the brain. Gauss was right. This picture is one that many of you are familiar with. Last year, we explained the dynamic range of human eye and made it clear that the cones and the rows do. Color is the domain of the cones. The cones are responsible for color perception, and this cannot happen without retina. Retina must bind to opsin to better facilitate the photoelectric effect. The different sensitivities to the cause to different wavelengths of light depend on different opsins, which in turn are controlled by different light-sensitive genes. The gene for the protein responsible for blue vision is located on the 7th chromosome. The gene for the proteins responsible for red and green vision are located on X chromosome. All three genes are normal in individuals with normal color vision. Let's do another color experiment. Who can tell me what color these hearts are under the vertical stripe? Any volunteer? Okay, I got one. Hello, pretty. What's your name?
Hello, Lindy. My name is Hermione.
Are you honest to your mommy?
Yes, I love my mommy.
Are you colorblind?
No, I'm very good at colors and I like drawing.
Oh, really? Can you tell me what color are these hearts?
Okay, the left one is pink, the middle one is yellow, the right one is green.
Oh, great. Thank you. Hermione, have a good day.
You too, Mommy.
Thank you. I saw most of you, including Hermione, saying pink, yellow, and green, but actually, when you remove the vertical stripe fields and look at the bottom layer, there are three exactly the same yellow hearts. What does this mean? It shows that when the same color object is placed in different backgrounds, the color are perceived by the brain is not the same as the color in poor environments. At this point, we can see that the way people perceive color depending on two variables, one being the genetic makeup of the visual system, and the other being the brain's interpretation. Therefore, it's possible that each person's gene expression is not exactly the same, and their brain interpretation of color is not exactly the same. And their brain's color world should be different. However, we are social animals, and the general public view are influenced by external voices. So we can reach consensus on many color-related qualitative conclusions. Once we start seeing things in the same way too often, our visual system will exhibit constants and adaptation. This means that initial impressions are important and can shape the baseline for how color are perceived in our brain. When there are changes, we will question the changes using constancy. But over time, we get used to them because we re-establish a new baseline in our brains. 20 years ago, some people liked the color style of Canon, while the others like Nikon's camera. There is a color style dispute between Canon and Nikon. 10 years ago, some people liked the color style of Apple, and while the others like Samsung. It seems that people are no longer arguing about the color of smartphone now, which again shows our adaptability. People don't debate their smartphone's color anymore. However, the dispute between stars and Olympus in endoscope camera system still exists. And these two benchmarks at the direction we are going to lead into. Listening to different surgeons' recommendations on color, gradually, we realized that in the color expert, real color and the color distinction become the two directions we may lead to. According to the above, we can see that the color is not an objective attribute. In 2018, we pursued real color in our camera system. The result is most of the surgeons just didn't like it. They advised us to learn from styles. When we do some tests on the color of styles, we found that it was not real at all. But my team were surprised by its color gradation and distinguishability. We finally got the fact what the surgeons like. In this way, we realized that the right way to improve color issue should be expand the color distinct. That is the direction we are heading in with ISP version 2. ISP version 2 is our stable algorithm module based on Mach5 platform that we finalized the version in July of last year. One of the key focuses is to optimize the color algorithm with Mach5 system. As mentioned at last year's launch event, image quality can only be appreciated by comparing it to something else. When we were developing Mach5 SP version 1, we compared it to the image from Mach 3. When we were developing Mach5 SP version 2, we compared it to SP version 1. By comparing, we can see that what was once considered the best can eventually be even better. In SP version 1 algorithm, the colors are processed in their original state as they are captured, which may result in a bunch of color in a specific part of the color space. In other words, the color graduation is not well defined. Similar color is very close to each other. In SP version 2, the colors are processed by spreading them out more evenly, based on the need of visual comfort. It's like this small box in the color space. In this way, the desired color gradation is achieved, and this level of distinction can make it easier for human eye to detect the region of interest. Additionally, SP version 2 also brings back some colors that exceed the color space during the capture and the processing process. For example, red overflow. By pulling back the overflowed color into the color space that is perceptible to human eye, it can make human eye feel more comfortable. Meanwhile, SP version 2 also made spatial adjustment to overall brightness. Let's take a look at these two images as an example. Look at the brightness statistics for a single row of pixels. We can see that SP version 2 has generally increased the brightness of most pixel points compared to version 1. In the end, we see that the overall image on the right looks brighter. This allows us to gradually shift many subject feeling to an object method of evaluation. This can help us better access the effectiveness of the algorithm. In summary, The ISP version 2 focused on many foundation modules, which greatly enhanced the color distinction, detail clarity, and the brightness uniformity of Mic 5 serial products. So, is that all? Are we just not going to make any more updates about color? No, we want to see more than the better. I have to say, our new ISP algorithm, ISP version 3, is on the way. And we can't wait to see what kind of results it will bring. Let's look forward to the new algorithm and the new platform next year. That is all for our first part on color. I'm sure some people have different opinions about color. Like, color is actually quite easy to achieve. Just use a 3-chip system. The color will be great. The problems you mentioned can all be resolved. I bet someone is saying that, right? Yeah. Let me tell you some story about 3 chips. So why didn't we do the 3-chip 4K in 2018? Actually, our team did very detailed feasibility study on the 3-chip technology in 2018. We read papers, looked into the raw materials, and consult experts. A German research institute expert emailed me back saying they just abandoned this direction. And a Japanese expert asked me why I had to choose this technical path, as image processing technology was already advanced enough for product use. Then I just asked myself, hey Lindy, do you really know what does the market need? There were many market demands at that time. Some are very ambitious, I have to say. Ask us to create something that would surpass stars. Others are quite modest. Ask us to just create something stable and reliable no matter what it is. They can help us to sell it. But I indeed saw the real demand among these voices. An upgrade in clarity from Full HD to 4K. HIKIMAGING Images team are very down to earth. So if we are going to do 4K, we are going to do real 4K. That is why we choose the single chip 4K technology route. So why do we have to do single chip 4K but not 3-chip 4K? Let's talk about something about hardware. If we follow our architecture, the camera head does not do any image processing, and all processing is handled by the CCU. Why is that? Based on the architecture, if we put a notch of image processing at camera head, the camera head will get very hot. So SP must move to CCU. Since SP moved to CCU, the camera's raw data should be able to transmit it to CCU. So the camera head cable should have the capacity to do the data transmission, right? Thus, the bandwidth of the head cable is very important. Our Mac 3 has a maximal transmission capacity of 11.88 G. If we do 3 CMOS 4K using any of existing 4K sensors to calculate the required transmission bandwidth, it would be 28.5 G. What does this mean? It means that the data volume is too large to be carried on. Then you may ask, why does others claim to have 3 CMOS 4K? I mentioned earlier at HIKIMAGING Images team, are very down to earth. How other climates, you might want to ask them how they are breaking through physical limits. There is another very important issue we have to consider: heating up. I tried many 3-chip solutions. The real 3-chip ones, they are really hot. The perceived temperature is definitely above 14 degrees. Even if everyone knows the calculation and the processing power of the camera is the most basic data stack processing and doesn't do any fancy operations, a single chip sensor solution can still keep the power consumption around 1.3 watts awesome. A 3-chip camera, on the other hand, had a power consumption of over 2.5 watts. With the same heat dissipation area, the power consumption is doubled, and controlling the temperature won't be an easy task. That is why some nice manufacturers used to put a silicone cover on the camera heads at trade shows to avoid burning people's hands. Since there are so many problems and difficulties with making 3-chip 4K camera, why not just skip it? Yes, I did think that's one point, but I just cannot stop thinking. Is there any value of 3-chip? If yes, we can't give up exploring just because of these difficulties. Our technical team conclusion is that there may be some advantage in color reproduction and the lighting requirement for 3-chip. How much of this, they don't know, because they haven't made one. They haven't done any test, so they have no idea. It's true. Why are you doing 4 chips now? I have to say, things changes. In 2018 to 2019, we launched the first generation 4K camera with single chip. In 2020, we launched our first AF autofocus product. In 2021 to 2022, we launched our first generation fluorescent and 3D cameras with dual sensor solution. And in 2023, we launched our VF fluorescent camera with dual sensor solution. All of which shows that our technology and the manufacture process upgrades. Actually, our engineers have been telling me for a long time, Lindy, if we can do 1, we can do 2. If we can do 2, we can do 3 and more. Quantity is not the problem. The problem is whether it's worth doing. So I just say, I don't know either. How about this? Let's just do it. So we can work out the fact. Cross the river by yourself and you will know the depths. Don't do it. You'll always be stuck in someone else's words. Do it. You can find the answer by yourself. Okay, we already know why. Let's move to how. In fact, the full CMOS architecture is something that most people are familiar with. After passing through the optical coupler, Philips prism split white light into RGB monochromatic light for corresponding sensors, while the near-infrared light enters the relative sensor. Behind the prism is the sensor, and after the sensor converts its data into digital signals, it is transmitted via a transmission cable to CCU for post-processing. Here is a little more information for you. The optical capital used in multi-chip system is not the same as used in single chip camera head. The optical path is different and it will not fit. If we use the wrong capital for 3-chip camera head, you can get imagery, but the image won't be optimal. Someone will ask, is it 4K for CMOS chip? Okay, about this, I have to say, 4K sensor should have a resolution of about 8 megapixels. But we are now choosing sensors with only 6 megapixels. Why are we making this choice? Because sometimes more is not always better. The entire image chain is a system engineering project, and it also follows the principle of wooden bucket. When we do the matching design of optical paths and sense, we place a lot of emphasis on CRA and pixel size. Pixel size may be more important than the number of pixels. The larger the pixel size, the stronger the sensitivity of each individual pixel point. The amount of light entering the effective area will be greater. Another fact is CRA, which is the main net angle indicator. Generally speaking, the CRA is the length and sense should match. If the difference is more than 3 degrees, it causes a decrease in image brightness or color shift. We take into account the degree which lens can achieve, and also know that limited by the principle of wooden bucket, 8 megapixels will be lost in the final system link. So we choose 6 megapixel sensor, which should be optimal solution for the current system optical path. Therefore, I think that what we made is Ultra HD for chips. And the data volume of sensor is also very large. Can this large data volume be transmitted? Yes. If we use the previous solution to transmit, it will not work. But our transmission solution has changed significantly compared to 6 years ago. Our solution is to convert sensor's analog signal into digital signal, then perform electro-optical conversions, then transmit it by fiber to receive end of the CCU, where it is converted back into electrical signal and processed. By the way, one significant change is in this transmission solution is that we have replaced the cable with optical fiber. As we all know, optical fiber is generally more fragile than electrical wire. Although we have done a lot of protection coating to improve its flexibility, but the flexibility test is undergoing. And I cannot say how good our flexibility at this moment. You'll get update once we have the conclusion. Are the existing transmission solution capable of meeting the requirements of the bandwidth? Let's take a look at this current data. According to the 4-6 million pixel sensor we mentioned earlier, the required transmission bandwidth is 38G. However, the maximal transmission band of our new solution is 14.8. We built a really wide data hallways for 4-chip camera head. how about the temperature of the 4 CMOS? To be honest, we're still in the testing phase and need more time and samples to support the conclusion. But we always involved our CMOS design team in our design process, and based on the simulation result of CMOS design compared with the situation of Mach 3, at 25-degree room temperature, after 2.5 hours, the temperature does not exceed 35 degrees. Although we haven't finished testing completely, the power consumption data of the camera is stable. It's about the same as Mach 3, with an additional 0.2 watts also. I believe the temperature rise data should be controllable. In conclusion, the final results depending on image quality. To be honest, we just debugged a version last week, and based on current results, the color do look slightly better with 4-chip solution using the same ISP version 2. It's not impressive as we expected. Since these results, our R&D team is also thinking about the reason behind this. Color optimization for single-chip solution can be further improved through the light source spectral optimization. If light source is optimized and combined with good image strategies, the advantage of multi-chip solution in terms of color may be not as that obvious. As always, we will continue to explore and validate the advantage and disadvantage of singular and multi-chip solution. I think we are close to the truth. Need more tests yet. And I have to say, our team is right. They are really good. They really have capability to do 3-chip, 4-chip at the beginning. They are fantastic, and I love them. Will 4 CMOS handle be too big? No. It will basically the same size as Mach 5s. That is, we did not develop completely new shell. We just put the 4-chip module into Mach 5 shell, and it works very well. It's still a prototype. I hope we can launch it in Q4. Hope every test runs smoothly. No surprise, no delay. In 2022, we did our first fluorescent, but at that time, I didn't really understand a lot of ICG things. I thought, since Stryker or Novada have been in this field for so long and have proved the value of fluorescence in clinical application, we just need to follow it. In 2023, after some customer got certification and used the fluorescent in clinical trials, they gave us feedback that fluorescent was not visible when the camera was far away, so we just started discussing how to create a fluorescent solution that can be seen at a distance of 20 centimeters. Starting from the beginning of this year, we have received feedback from customers that fluorescent highlighting area cannot remain stable. We then start to study this subject again. At the mid-year review last year, I took a good look back and did some serious self-reflection. Medical industry is a particular interdisciplinary field, require a deep understanding of biology, medicine, pharmacy. Without any of these areas of knowledge, you may not fully grasp basic principle of a product. Since the first quarter last year, we have once again begun studying the fundamental properties of fluorescence. First, we conducted a systematic study of clinical application of fluorescence, clarified molecular binding mechanism and the principle of metabolism with the body. I had assumed that when we launched the product and went to the hospital to promote it, everyone knows how to use it. But actually, many surgeons ask us, how do you suggest to use ICG? How much ICG should I inject? How long should I wait? Oh my God. A lot of surgeons don't know ICG as much as we thought. At that time, thanks to the team led by Dr. Hua from Peking Union Medical College Hospital, they not only shared their own application experience with us, but also shared other doctors' experience. Combining actual clinical data, we gradually understood how ICG works in blood, lymphocytic, and in tumor. With a solid foundation in clinical practice, we began systematically review our system. The composition of the whole system cannot be separated from the light source, camera, optical coupler, endoscope, and CCU. The fact that effect fluorescent performance can be divided in two major categories, the optical part and the algorithm part. We will proceed to these two parts later. First, let's talk about the light source. When we first starting work with fluorescence, there are two main choices. One is 785, the other is 805. About 18 months of experimentation, we finally understood the features of these two light sources. For example, what are the advantages of the 805 light source? It is that the fluorescent signals generated by it will be stronger. What about 785 light source? Since excitation light at 785 and the wavelength of the generated fluorescent is further away, optically, a good field can be designed to fill out the excitation, to fill out the excitation light more cleanly, thus making the image system receive less excitation light interference and have a broader range of fluorescence that can be received and more abundant amount fluorescent information. This is spectral information after filtering. From the area, it can be seen that effective area of fluorescence generated by 785 light source will be larger. But what's more important is spectral range. As long as signal is not missing, it can be expressed through a subsequent signal process. But if the signal is missing totally, you can get nothing to process. So we decided to stick with the strategy using 785 light source for the subsequent light source. The reason for this is that fluorescence is pure, and effective fluorescence spectrum is wider. Next, we want to talk about fluorescent camera and coupler. The spectrum that reflects back from the tissue contains not only fluorescent signal but also net reflection from the excitation light, which requires that image system. First task is to extract the useful spectrum and block the interfering spectrum. This requires the cooperation of camera and coupler. This is another system engineering problem. But what is the current situation in our industry? Camera manufacturers do not make coupler. Coupler manufacturers do not make cameras. To provide a precise matching coupler, customization is needed. But with no volume, manufacturers are not willing to customize. As a result, when the manufacturer receives a universal coupler that is not matched to their camera, there will be fluorescent leakage or strand light due to the mismatching of the optical paths and insufficient filters. Because the price of coupler is low, when such problem occurs, customer first reaction is that the camera system is not good. Then everyone comes to us, HIKIMAGING. Yeah, we are happy to solve problems. It's okay they come back to find us. You know that our C582 VF and integrated zoom optical lens group are customized optical module, so the leakage and the strand light can be controlled quite well. We have test results. Inspired by this, why not we make one coupler and sell it to our customer? So we just start to develop coupler. Yes, you know, we don't do that product before, but we have to do it right now. If customer buys C581 from HIKIMAGING, it's nice that we can provide a good coupler together. We also have R&D samples now, but we want to solve the problem of autoclave performance. So we are still testing it. So the ICG coupler is not yet released, but we have samples for test now. The endoscope also plays a very important role in fluorescent effect. The ability of the infrared confocals in fluorescent optic lens is necessary condition to tell whether it is excellent or not. We have also evaluated many samples of fluorescent endoscope. Some German brands do not do well in this way, and they can only control it with the millimeters, which will fairly affect fluorescent image effect. They admit that some Chinese branding fluorescent endoscope can achieve excellent infrared confocals at the micro level, which is now the industry standard. Therefore, we suggest that when you want to provide an excellent fluorescent system, you should choose a good fluorescent endoscope. Our next generation fluorescent endoscope may be a good choice for you. We mentioned that fluorescent algorithms also play a crucial role in fluorescent imaging. We express the fluorescent intensity simply use this formula. G presents the gain, which is amplification coefficient. S1 represents the true fluorescent signal, and delta E is a residual exciting light that can have been filtered. This is a point that our engineering especially asked me to explain. The field is impossible to filter the excitation light to zero. In this way, we can see that G and delta E both have a very important impact on the final fluorescent effect. If gain is set to high, the signal intensity is also high. The fluorescence is more obvious. But delta E is also amplified, and the problem of fluorescent excitation light leakage arises. If the gain is set to null, the signal value is null. The problem of fluorescent leakage is eliminated, but fluorescent looks less intense. In our new fluorescent algorithm, we have a better way to balance optimize the gain and the delta E. Let's check the results now. Compared with fluorescent ISP version 1, we have made significant improvements with the version 2. Of course, there's still room for improvement. I believe that with more and more clinical feedback, our fluorescent technology will continue to improve and become even better. There are a lot of experiment data. I won't go into detail here. In this afternoon, we will have a sub-forum where we will share more detailed experience in fluorescent research. Please feel free to come and exchange ideas with us in this afternoon.